What's shaking? Y'all know I'm Bacon. This is Calzax back on the mic once again with another Escape from Tarkov guide. Today we are bringing you the SMG overview, just a comprehensive guide to the SMGs as well as the ammos. We're going to be going through quite a bit of information here, and I really hope it helps you guys out. So I'd like to take 5 seconds of your time to say we stream on YouTube as well as on twitch.tv/CalzaxTV. We have a Discord known as The Airport with nearly 150 members. The link is in the description below. And please drop a like and subscribe. Okay, so we're going to be discussing quite a bit of information about the Tarkov SMGs. I'm a big SMG user. I love the SMGs in Escape from Tarkov. So we're going to be discussing kind of the reasons why I like them, as well as going through all the different ammo types for the different SMGs, and then discussing the different guns that you can choose from, talking about both budget, kind of mid-tier, and then those high-end SMGs that you have available to you. Now, the reason you want to turn to SMGs generally is you're looking for something that's both full auto, doesn't have much of a kick, and is effective in those CQB areas. Generally, you're going to be looking at around 55 vert recoil or less on these SMGs, and the bullets are going to have some lower muzzle velocities, generally 500 meters a second or lower. We're also going to be seeing a lot of high fire rates on these guns, looking at generally 800 to up to 1,000 plus. So that'll do it kind of for why you'd want to use these SMGs. So let's go ahead and dive into the different ammunitions you'll need to be aware of. Alright, first we're going to look at 9x19mm, and there are about 4 different ammos that I'd like for you to know about, 4 different rounds specifically. First off, generally you're going to want to know about the PST GZH. This is available early on from Prapar as well as Mechanic in the game. It has penetration of 20, a damage of 54, an armor damage of 33, and travels at 457 meters a second. This is generally a cheap SMG bullet that you're going to want to look at using versus the other ones like PSO, stuff like that. This gives you at least that 20 penetration, which is fairly high for other bullets in this class. And you're going to be able to knock through most of those face shields, especially if you're hitting multiple times. As fast as these SMGs shoot and as little recoil as there is, it's pretty easy to do that. Don't sleep on the effectiveness of this round. It may not look like much, but it's pretty cheap and is more effective than you'd think. So definitely don't sleep on this, please. Next up, we have AP 6.3. This is available from Peacekeeper. The penetration is 30, the damage is 52, the armor damage is 48, and the muzzle velocity is 392 meters a second. This is that next tier up from that PST. You'll prefer to use this over that. The 30 penetration over 20 is going to be big time, allowing you to easily penetrate the class 3 armors. And then in those class 4 and up, again, you are firing an SMG, so if you need to, you are going to be able to penetrate after hitting multiple shots, which is, again, easy to do. But I will note that on these SMGs in general, you're going to be looking for headshots. What I love about the SMGs is I can spray them right around the head level. And because of the lack of recoil as well as the high fire rate, I can just spit tons of bullets towards the head, hoping to land one of them or possibly even multiple, and you can get through those face shields pretty well with this AP 6.3. Next up, we have 7 and 31. This is definitely generally considered the best in class for 9x19mm, just because you get that 39 penetration, 52 damage, 55 armor damage. This is going to give you the best in class penetration for 9x19mm. This is what you'll see people running. Again, you're going to be able to get through even the most top tier armors after a few different shots. Again, those class 5s is probably going to take you, four or so shots to be able to get through those and kill through those, which is really easy to do with these SMGs. Again, you're going to be able to smack through the face shields. Probably not looking to shoot through the class 6 armors as much with this, but these are SMGs. If you're wanting to do something like that, you're going to have to look further up down the line into the assault rifles and stuff like that. I also want to talk about 9x19mm RIP. This ammo here is pretty important to know about because of the fact that it does 102 damage. It only has that 2 penetration, but I will be bringing up the meta fleshy ammos because this allows you to leg people, which is a current meta in Tarkov that a lot of people like to use, so it's good to keep on the radar. With the high fire rates on some guns, if you're able to pour some of these into the people's legs, no matter what armor they're pretty much wearing, you'll be able to take them out. The legs are also a big target, so it is good to know about this. These do generally run pretty expensive, so just know that. Alright, the next caliber I'd like to talk about is the 9x18mm. This is going to be useful in those Kedrs and Klins. They're pretty available, so definitely good to know about these. We'll start off with 9x18 PST GCH. This is kind of be your standard bullet, as we talked about with the other PST GCH. Not as good of penetration on this class, so do be aware of that. This class in general is going to be a bit more of a flesh outlook, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. So do know about the PST. That's going to be available pretty early. The next two important ones to know about are the PMM and the PBM. These are going to give you the 20 penetrations. Obviously, the PBM is going to give you even more penetration, but that PMM, you're getting 24, which is pretty close to the 28 penetration, as well as higher damage. So maybe you want to go with the PMM because you're going to get that similar penetration with much higher damage again, as well as a 420 muzzle velocity, LOL. And the other bullet we'll want to look at is the SP7. This is pretty important because as this is a fleshy kind of class, this SP7 may not be as expensive as those rip rounds of the 9x19, but it still pulls off 77 damage, which is really good in general. So if you can put this in something like the Klin, which we'll talk about more later, you're going to get very high chances of being able to take people out in the legs. Next up we have 45. I'll just start out with 45 rip. This again is the fleshy damage. As you can see, it pulls off a crazy 127 flesh damage. So this can be super effective when tossing like something like the 45 vector, things like that. Crazy damage to the flesh. So that is scary. Moving on to the 45 ACP FMJ. This is probably the best one that's available early in the 45 round caliber. These are not the most available early on, so you will take you time to get there. So please do know that. But this does 23 penetration as well as 69 damage. Definitely comparable to that of the PST GZH of the 9x18 class with higher damage, it seems. Gets a muzzle velocity of 285. But the one we really want to note is the 45 ACP AP with a penetration of 36 and damage of 70. This could rival that of the 7 and 31 of the 9x18, or 9x19 rather. Super powerful when tossing something like the Vector 45. Just insane how much damage and penetration it can do at that high fire rate. We'll get into that again later on, but very good to know about this round. Available with Peacekeeper. These do also sell out pretty quick, just like 7 and 31, so make sure you stock up on these. Alright, next up we have 5.7 by 28 millimeter rounds here. These are also can be a little bit costly and hard to come by, but these, we'll get more into the guns later, but you're looking at like the 5.7 and the P90 for these kind of bullets. Very large bullet in general for an SMG, so pretty powerful caliber in general. Let's go ahead and dive into R37.X. Available pretty early on. This is going to be that fleshy one with 81 damage, 11 penetration. Very good to know about. Next up, L191 is going to be one that's available earlier on. You're looking at 33 penetration, sitting at 58 damage. So definitely solid there as well. Next up, we have SB193. Very similar to the L191 in general. Kind of pick your poison here, whatever you guys prefer. You guys can see the L191 also has that super high muzzle velocity at 716 meters a second versus the 305 on the SP193. Just interesting to note. Now, really the end-all be-all in this class is the SS190. This is what most people are looking for, just really due to the high penetration. But as you guys can see, the L191 is going to have that higher damage, and it's not that different overall. They both have the high muzzle velocity, so really pick your poison here. I just want to kind of show you all of them. Alright, next up we have 4.6 by 30 millimeter. This is going to go in those MP7s. Very interesting class and caliber of bullets here. So first off, we have our Subsonic SX. I think this is the first important one to note with 36 penetration, 45 damage. You can see this class of bullets is really going off, smoking with that penetration. These things pack a punch. FMJ SX, we have 40 penetration and 43 damage, 620 meters a second. Absolutely stunning. And then moving on to APSX, this is a crazy SMG round, as fast as the MP7 can shoot, with 53 penetration. That is got to be sitting atop one of the highest penetration SMG bullets available. Very interesting to note. And the last caliber I'd like to discuss is 9x39. This is going to be available in those VSSs and AS Vals that we'll get into a little bit later. We'll start off with SP5, 38 penetration, 68 damage. You can see these are absolutely huge bullets for SMG calibers, but this is a gun that I really do consider to be an SMG caliber, so it's good to know. Next up we have the SB6 with 46 penetration and 58 damage. This all received a buff pretty recently, so very, very powerful gun. Not too expensive in general, so it's very good to know about. SBP sitting at 50 penetration, 64 damage. Just absolutely stunning, guys. Stunning numbers. These do travel slowly, so please do know that. And then BP with 55 penetration, 60 damage, 68 armor damage. This thing will sit you down as fast as these guns can shoot. Alright, as far as the guns, I'd like to go ahead and hop in and talk about our cheap options that we have available. Firstly, we'd like to talk about the Kedr, PP91 Kedr. This is a 9x18 SMG available from Prapar, loyalty level 1. The base stats, we won't worry too much about this because obviously it's just a base little SMG, but you're looking at 65 vert recoil, so it does have a base kick, but you're getting 900 RPM. And if you put something like SB7 or one of those bullets in here, you're going to be able to do some damage. And then later on at loyalty level 2 from Prapar, we're going to have the Klin. This thing is very, very similar to the Kedr, except that it has 1000 RPM, which is actually pretty high compared to a lot of these SMGs even. So very, very good if you toss some SB7 for how cheap it can be. Another cheap option I like to discuss is the MP9. This is from Peacekeeper, loyalty level 2. This is a favorite of many out there. With 57 base vert recoil, you can throw a foregrip on this as well. It's pretty cheap, usually only a couple $100, 275 generally from a Peacekeeper at the time of this video. Sitting at 900 RPM, it's pretty similar to that of the Kedr. Pretty high ergo at 85. And you can easily toss things on again with these rail mounts as well. That's why people generally like this. Many also prefer the 9x19 caliber. And this does use 9x19 as opposed to 9x18. So that could be a reason for you guys to use this. Next up, we have the UMP45, available from Peacekeeper, loyalty level 2 as well. This is going to be shooting actually the 45 caliber. It does shoot slowly at 600 RPM, but the 45 can be pretty devastating, especially like early wipe. And this is a really, really cheap gun in general, about the same as the MP9. So just pick your poison. Again, it does have those rail mounts, so you can toss things on pretty easily. Alright, let's move into the mid-tier options. Let's start with the MP5. So this is actually available from a barter with Peacekeeper loyalty level 1 with the knives, the scav knives, or you can buy it at loyalty level 2. And actually, you can buy the MP5 SD later on, which is actually the version I really recommend, the suppressed version after scrap metal. So the MP5, you're looking at 800 RPM. This is a 9x19 SMG. IRL, very, very, fantastic SMG, been around for many years. One of the best SMGs IRL, obviously, but in the game, tons of fun to use. Very, very good price. You're getting a very fantastic gun for the price. I love this thing, honestly, because of how you can mod it out. It has the base 48 vert recoil, which is totally fine. I would recommend using this version over the MP5, the smaller version, the MP5K or whatever it's called, just because of the recoil problems with it, really. But if you're looking for super cheap, you can go in that direction. And then again, overall, I do recommend the MP5 SD because of the fact you're getting down to that 20-ish vert recoil. It's so easy to control. Just toss a little red dot in there, some not good 9x19. You can do some damage for so cheap. Next up, we have the MPX, available from Peacekeeper as well. What's nice about this, it does have the 850 RPM. It's very similar to the MP5 in this game, I feel like. But it, again, does shoot faster. It also has a lot more rail mounts available, so you can really just toss attachments on it a lot easier. So some people do like that about it. Really pick your poison here. It is more expensive too, so there is that about it. But some people really stand by this gun, and I think that's totally fine. I love this thing. Alright, now we are talking about the Vector 9mm, obviously a staple in the world of Tarkov at the current moment. At 950 RPM, we are looking at something that has over 100 more RPM than the MPX, and overall isn't really that much more expensive. But again, you're also getting a 32 vert recoil and a 74 ergo as the base gun itself, and it has those rail mounts available, just waiting to toss some more stuff on there. So this is you can see why this is a meta SMG. Absolutely blazing speeds and just ready to go off rip, and available from Skier loyalty level 2. Now let's hop into those top tier options, and we're going to start out with the 45 Vector. This gun is absolutely fantastic, you guys. Look at the RPM on it, 1100 RPM, more than 150 more than the other Vector. Crazy stuff. More than 250 more than the MPX. And this is running that 45 caliber. So you toss some AP in here, you're doing some work. We can see why this is considered a meta at 41 vert recoil without any attachments. It's crazy, guys. I really encourage you guys, if you guys are SMG fans, to check this gun out. Obviously, some people think this thing should gotta be nerfed, stuff like that, but that's its own story. I just encourage you to go have fun with it. This thing is absolutely insane. The only issue with this, I will say, and take note, because the fact that this is a comprehensive SMG guide, you are going to be able to have bigger mags with the 9mm Vector than the 45 in general. You're going to be able to have those Glock 50 rounders in the 9mm if you want. In this 145 round, at least at the current time of this video, you are limited to 30 round mags. That can be the only problem with this Vector, so keep that in mind. But if you're able to make use of the 30 round mags that you have, it is scorching fast. Alright, the next high tier option I recommend is the P90. I love this thing as well at 900 RPM, but shooting those 5.7 thick bullets, this boy is a lot of fun. Those mags be full, 50 rounders I believe. Just a really fun gun in general. Can shred people. It's got those really nice bullets, obviously better than the Vector has available to it. So definitely recommend you guys check that one out. It can be a bit more expensive to obtain until you get the traders unlocked. Alright, and then lastly, I'd like to talk about the AS Val, guys. This is obviously shooting those absolutely huge 9x39 rounds. It's not exactly, it's considered an assault rifle in the game, but I think many would consider this to really be an SMG. It's just hard to hit with from a distance because of the low muzzle velocity as well as the speed of the bullets. I've tried to use it as even a sniper, and it's very tough. So I consider it to be an SMG. But when used as an SMG, to me, it is so powerful. The only issue with it can be, again, you only have 20 to 30 round mags available, and the 30 rounders can be expensive, so that is tough. But the bullets are just so big, they can penetrate through almost anything if you're spending the money. Really fun gun in general. This one is a little bit more expensive because you're going to have to mod it up to get where you want to go. Obviously, the Vector guns come more ready to go, but the ammo in this gun can be where it's at. And then also we have the MP7. The MP7 I consider to be a high-end option just because of the fact I think if you're really wanting to run the full extent of this, you can run it for cheaper and it would be probably more mid-tier. But if you want to take this all the way, you're going to have to go with that APSX, and that can be costly. But the APSX is absolutely nasty. This thing pulls off 950 RPM, same as the MPX. It has a 51 vert recoil to start off. You can absolutely just toss on some things under the rail mounts. You'll have to get the tan version if you want to put your own foregrip on top of it. But this thing can be a meta of its own just because of the fact that even though it doesn't match the Vector fire rate, this thing, because of the APSX penetration, can be just disgusting. It can get through those Altons even, which is crazy. Well, guys, that about does it for our comprehensive SMG guide today. I hope that this helps you guys out and gets you guys going with these SMGs out there in the world of Tarkov. I love these things, so much fun. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see maybe one for the assault rifles or shotguns or snipers, things like that. What you guys want to see next from us. We would love to get that out to you guys. We also have a lot of Escape from Tarkov content available on our YouTube. We've been streaming that hardcore as well as Tarkov Saturday. So if you guys want to get a part of that, hop in the Discord. Link is in the description below. We'll be streaming it here. We'll be streaming it on twitch.tv/KalzXTV. Leave us a like, subscribe, and we will catch you around.